All right, you ready?
Yes.
For Insta? Hello, welcome back to Stay Home and Draw. We're just going to let people join us for a few minutes before we get started. Really excited for you guys to all be here. I am excited to do some fun artwork with you guys today. Again, we're just letting people trickle in, so if you guys want to say hi, ask a question or two, tell me how you're doing. We're doing pretty good over here at Chez Bardot, Casa Bardot.
Chez Bardot, where we're waiting for a baby to hang out with us any day now.
Yeah, we're like almost 2 weeks out from my due date, so really that means anytime. So if we suddenly disappear from Instagram, you know why.
Well, definitely, if you're in the email list, we'll email.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys posted. We won't just leave you hanging. If I'm on Instagram, I'll be sharing cute baby photos. Don't you worry. But welcome everybody. We're just getting started. We're letting people hop on and join before we get started with the actual tutorial today. It's Friday, although days really have no meaning anymore for most of us. No, that's probably not true. Lots of you guys are still working and, but the days do kind of run together after a while. I will say that.
We got everyone coming in. We've got Sweden, Norway, Missouri, Iowa, St. Louis, Dallas, good old California.
That's where we're at. Jeff and I live in California. We love it here. It's a very beautiful, warm day. It's going to be a warm weekend. It's starting to feel like closer to summer, even though spring just started.
It's too warm for me.
I don't mind it too much. If it's like this kind of weather, you can deal with 80s. Once you get into the 90s and 100s, which it does get in the summertime, it gets hot here. Then it's like, let's just stay inside in the air conditioner. But if you guys want to say how you're doing, I would love to hear from you. Or if you have any quick questions I can answer before we get started. We try to wait about 5 minutes before we actually dive in. So we're about 2.5 minutes in now. But we're doing good. Feeling very, very pregnant, you guys. Very pregnant. My body is full of human. And I'm ready for it to come out, or him. Ready for the human to escape me. Oh, man. I'm excited about today, though. This is going to be a fun, very, therapeutic, I think, art session. It's a little slower paced, I don't want to say tedious, but I don't know. It's not as, fast paced. So I think some of you guys are really going to like today. It's going to be fun and relaxing, which is what we all need. Yesterday, I spent some time just kind of, playing around with brushes and relaxing and just drawing random little shapes and patterns and things like that on my iPad. And sometimes it's good to just make things without any objective other than to just spend time making something, even if it's not really anything. So it's always good to do that.
Quick questions.
Yeah.
One is no, we're not going to have any more children past the third.
Yeah, I feel like that would be an unwise choice on my part. I'm 3 is probably good. Any more than that, I might question my sanity a little bit, just because I know how busy I like to keep myself. And for me, 3 is probably good. We're good.
Someone was asking, is it alpha lock or clipping mask when you make a new layer and you can't color on the other layer?
Either one, actually. If it's a separate layer, it's a clipping mask. If it's on the same layer, it's alpha lock. So we will be using probably both of those today. So you'll get to see a little bit of that and kind of the differences and stuff. So your iPad broke, Anna. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm glad you're here anyways. That sucks.
Well, the good news is Apple is providing support right now. Lisa and I worked for Apple for a long time.
Yeah, we're big Apple people.
Yeah, huge Apple people. And so, please call Apple support. They're there.
Yeah. Hopefully it wasn't I mean, even if it was accidental damage, they can still fix it for you. But on my old iPad Pro I got before this one, I don't know what happened. I pulled it out of my bag one day and it just had a crack like this. One big crack all the way through. But I used it for like a year like that until I got this one. We finally got it fixed. We just like went to like a repair place that changed the screen out and, you know. Anyways, sorry for that very boring interjection.
And someone was asking, you mentioned who your favorite artist was in the mid-century class.
Oh, Mary Blair. She's one of my favorite artists. I love her so much. Look her up. She worked for Disney for a long time. She did a lot of concept art for some early Disney films, and she designed It's a Small World ride, and she's done a lot of really other cool books and advertisements and all kinds of stuff from that era. She is just great. I really look up to her. So we're going to get started in a minute, but before we get started, I just wanted to tell you guys we are doing a giveaway today.
First of all, I'm going to laugh because I've already noticed some people signing up in the giveaway already, and I love it.
You guys know what's up. Yeah, so we are going to be doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away some brush sets and some master bundles. So, be sure to go to the giveaway page, bardotbrush.com/giveaway. Sign up there. You'll be signing up for our email list, which I think is really an awesome newsletter. That's where we send you all the making art every day info. You get the prompts, you get motivational stuff. You also find out about other things that we're doing. So it's a great list to be on, if I do say so myself. But we'll be also doing a giveaway for the people that sign up through that today. And if you're already subscribed, you can still enter. You won't be like double subscribed or anything, but it will enter you for the giveaway. So be sure to do that. All right. I think we are pretty good to start officially. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Welcome back to Stay Home and Draw. The purpose of this is to, first of all, encourage people to stay home during this crazy pandemic we're experiencing so that we can all stay healthy and safe and reduce the amount of people getting sick, and also to inject a little creativity into your day. I don't know why I keep using the word inject. Now it has like a whole different meaning in light of everything that's going on. To insert some creativity into your day. And just have some fun together, spend some time together, ask questions, and explore some different kind of art stuff. So I'm really excited for you guys to be here. Today we are going to be learning about the folk art style, which isn't necessarily, I mean, it is a style, but it's also like a whole category of art. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There we go, folk art. So before we really get into it, I just wanted to tell you guys a couple things. So first of all, this whole folk art is inspired by this month's Making Art Every Day theme. Making Art Every Day is a series of drawing prompts, tutorials, resources, motivational stuff that I write to you, and a supportive community, all with the goal of helping you overcome your creative fears and establish a daily art making practice. So we've been running it since the beginning of 2019, and the community has really grown, and it's so cool to see all the creativity and artwork and everything, and like the support towards each other that's come out of this. It's really amazing. So like I said, there's a theme every month, and this month's theme is weather plus art styles, and we're in the last few days of this month. So all month we've been drawing different like elements of weather and kind of exploring them through different art styles. I wrote this article called 30 Art Styles to Try in Procreate, and I'll just bring it up real quick. So my website is Bardot Brush, and this is my tutorials page. And here it is, 30 art styles to try. So to try and Procreate, and for each there's like a description, a Pinterest board with lots of inspiration, and then a way for you to try that in Procreate. And I'll be adding today's tutorial to our section on folk art right here. There we go. And I've got a cool Pinterest board, so I'll be adding the tutorial here after. So let me talk a little, before we jump into that, I just wanted to say we're also going to be having a giveaway today. It's Friday. We try to do the giveaways every Friday. We're going to be giving away a couple of my brush sets as well as a couple master bundles today, which is like all of the brush sets. So if you guys want to enter, you can go to bardotbrush.com/giveaway. And you can sign up. You're basically signing up for our email newsletter, which I think is a really great newsletter to join. You'll get information about making art every day and lots of other fun stuff too. If you're already signed up, you can still enter. If you entered last week, you can enter again. So definitely go in and put your name down, and we will do like a random drawing at the end after we do like a Q&A. So go ahead and do that. bardotbrush.com/giveaway. All right, I'm going to go back to Safari here because I want to talk to you guys a little bit about folk art. So folk art, you might have an image in your head for what folk art looks like, but it's not necessarily one thing. I'm going to go to the Pinterest board that I created, and it's not, this obviously isn't a comprehensive picture of what folk art is because, where is it? They're alphabetical. Here we go. So what folk art means is basically art created by people that are not like professionally trained artists. So art made by the common people, like the folks. So a lot of times you'll see imagery that has to do with everyday life. Like here, we've got like farming and the general store. Like you also see like a lot of nature. And just things kind of from people's everyday life, like animals and things that they see in their own life. So that's kind of some of the things that you see. And folk art isn't specific to one region. It is, there's folk art from every region of the world. So a lot of times you'll see this, I think this is what comes up in my head when I think of folk art, which is this kind of Scandinavian-style folk art with the symmetry, which is what we're going to be exploring today a little bit. But that's, of course, not the only kind of folk art there is. Like, they're from all over the world. I've got these little turtles on the side here, and these are an example of folk art. These come from Mexico. I bought them many, many years ago, and I have a lot of, like, I love Mexican folk art because that's a part of my heritage. So you can see, like, a lot of floral elements and decoration and things like that, and they're cute little animal turtles. So they're just made by people and not like professional artists. And that's kind of the defining definition of folk art. And so I have this Pinterest board and it's got a lot of different styles and things like that. But again, like I said, the kind of style that we're going to be looking at is this kind of symmetrical, kind of Scandinavian influenced folk art. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to Procreate. And I am going to create a vertical canvas for this. I'm going to use my template 4,000 by 5,000 pixels. You, of course, don't have to use it that, you don't have to have a canvas that large. That's what I like to use. You'll get more layers to use if it is smaller, if you're like not on like an iPad Pro. So I am, like I said, this is coming from the Making Art Everyday project. And today's, or it might be this weekend's prompt, is night sky. So I am interpreting the prompt night sky as folk art. So what's kind of cool about this is like I'm going to go back over here, or sorry, over to Pinterest. That's, hold on. Let me get back to it. Art styles, folk art. So you can turn anything into like a certain style, and I'm just kind of interpreting the prompt night sky into this kind of like symmetrical, decorative type art with lots of, I notice there's like a lot of florals and natural elements and things like that. So when I sat down to think about what I wanted to do for this, I wanted to include some elements of the night sky, like moons and stars and constellations and things like that, but then interpret it into this style. So I'll show you kind of what I'm going to do for that. And I've kind of planned this ahead. So I've done a lot of the research and legwork to get ready for this before actually doing it with you guys. So So I'm just gonna start sketching and then I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. So I'm gonna choose like a middle gray to do my sketch. I'm gonna choose a pencil brush. I'm gonna go to my pencil box set and get the Bardot pencil. And you can use any pencil brush. You can use one from the Procreate sketching set to do your sketches. It doesn't really matter, it's just a sketch. And because the folk art, there's a lot of symmetry involved, which means like repeated symmetrical on both sides, like a mirror image. I'm gonna be using Procreate's symmetry feature to do this drawing. So I'll show you how to turn that on. I'm just gonna check in real quick to see if you guys had any questions before we actually dive in. Jeff, does anybody ask any questions that we can answer? We will do like, if you guys have questions about what I'm doing here, throw them up anytime and Jeff will, he's my husband, he runs things behind the scenes and he'll throw those out to me as we can. And then if we have like topics that we want to talk about at the end that are a little less related to what I'm doing, you know, throw those out too. And we'll do like a big Q&A at the end, but sometimes there's slow moments where I'm just drawing and I can like answer questions for you guys.
So a really good question we got was from Stephanie over on Facebook. Is there a way to see how many layers you get at the start of the project?
Yes, there are.
I run into issues with layer limits midway through.
Yes, that's a great question. And I think a good place to show you. So when you're creating a new canvas, you'll be able to see how many layers you're getting. And to do that, you just hit this little plus box right there. And you can type in how big you want it to be. So if I wanted to do a canvas that was like 3,000 by 5,000 pixels, I can see here that I would get a maximum of 31 layers. And the amount of layers that you get is dependent on how big you make your canvas and also how like fast and powerful your iPad is. So,
and are you using your typical size today? What size?
I am using, what did I say? 4,000 by 5,000 of vertical canvas.
4,000 by 5,000.
4,000 by 5,000. And if you already have a canvas open, like you're already working on one, you can go to the actions menu, canvas information, and I believe, come on, you don't want to work for me. Let's see, there's this layers section, and you can see your maximum layers there. So I have a maximum of 22 layers with a canvas at that size. And we will be working with a lot of layers today, but I don't think we'll hit that max. We'll be fine. So great question. Any other pressing questions before we get started?
We have one other that was, how do you pull up the second window on the iPad?
Yeah, I'll do that in a little bit, so you guys will be able to see that. And definitely keep throwing your questions out there. Like I said, this is kind of a slower type of art. It's not like super fast paced. You spend a lot of time like drawing and coloring things in and stuff like that. So there'll be plenty of time to ask questions and stuff in between. And I'll let Jeff know when I can take some questions. So, okay, let's do it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is set up symmetry. I'm going to turn that on. So to do that, you're going to go to the little wrench icon, which is the actions menu. You're going to go to canvas, and then you're going to go to where it says drawing guide and toggle that on. And when you do that, you'll start to see lines appear on your canvas. And it's not quite set up for symmetry yet. It's just set up as a grid. So we're going to go to where it says edit drawing guide. And there's some options down here at the bottom. And we're going to use the one that's called symmetry. And there are different options for symmetry. We're going to use this one, which just does like a mirror image with a line down the middle. So whatever I draw on this side will be repeated on this side. There are other options. So if you go here to options, you can do horizontally reflected, a quadrant. So whatever you draw here will be repeated and flipped in all the other quadrants, and radial. And these are all super, like, if you're ever like just wanting to relax a little bit, like turn on radial and just like start doodling, and it's very therapeutic and like relaxing to draw that way. But we're going to use vertical. And it's also very important, this is very, very important, that you turn on assisted drawing. If assisted drawing is not turned on, it won't be repeated, like it won't mirror. So make sure that's turned on. And that's pretty much it. So we can hit done. Oops, you see what I just did? Hold on a second. edit drawing guide. So there's this bar at the top with the color, and you can change the color of your guideline here. I accidentally hit it over here in white, so I'm gonna go back over there to like blue. It's too close to the done button. I've done that many times. So now you can see anything that I draw on this side is automatically mirrored on that side. So we're gonna be using like a combination of mirrored and not mirrored. Well, I'll explain. So what I kind of had in mind, I wanted to do like the moon phases. I wanted to have some like shooting star elements, and then I knew I wanted to incorporate some nature elements because that's something you see a lot in folk art. So, and like especially flowers. So I had the idea to do flowers that only bloom at night. So I did a little bit of research, and let me see if I can find it here. I made a sketch of, this is just like a really like very basic sketch of some flowers that I looked up that only bloom at night. So I thought that would be kind of cool to incorporate that for like my kind of natural element. So I have these little sketches that I'll be kind of referencing, and I'll kind of keep that on the side. So now I'll show you how I can pull up the split screen view. So if I pull this up, I'm gonna go to my photos because that's where that image is. You can also do it with Safari or Pinterest or whatever you want, other app, and then just drag it over to the side. And then I can resize that, and I could zoom in and move around. So I made all these little like ideas of elements that I want to incorporate into my artwork, and I'm gonna be putting them here in the artwork. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna draw like a moon and like the different phases around here. I want the first one to be centered, which it's a little difficult to draw with symmetry. There we go. Okay, so what I did here is I drew a circle, and it's mirrored, so it looks a little weird, but then I'm not lifting my pencil up, and it's gonna make this quick shape. And then if I put my finger down somewhere else, it's gonna make like a perfect circle. There we go. So there's like my big, this is gonna be like the full moon. And then over here, I'm gonna draw the other moons kind of in like a pattern like that. So there's one, and I'm again doing quick shape. I'm not letting my pencil up, putting one finger down. There we go. And then it's gonna change. And then we'll do one more moon down here. Okay, so these are all gonna be my different phases of the moon. This one's gonna be the full moon. This one's gonna be like we learned all the moon phases with my kids because we were curious. So we looked it all up one time. This is a gibbous moon. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. So it's like, this part's gonna be dark and this will be light. And then they'll do like a half moon here.
Which brush are you on again, Lisa?
I am using Bardot pencil from the pencil box set, but you can use any pencil type brush to do your sketch. And then this is gonna be like a little crescent moon. And I'm not doing the full moon phases, I'm just doing some of them. I'm not doing like the new moon or anything like that. So in the end, like this will be dark, this will be dark. And what's great is I'm only having to worry about drawing this on one side of my canvas. It's gonna repeat it over here, which is awesome. So now I wanna incorporate, I'm gonna start with like a big flower right here. And you can set your canvas up and your composition up any way you want, and we'll kind of like start with our bigger like focal points. Like the moons are probably the most prominent like part of my design here, and then we can fill in all the little spaces with other elements and stuff like that. So I'm drawing a flower like this, and I don't remember the names of these flowers. I looked them up before, but I don't remember the names of them, but I'm gonna do one like kind of like that. So I can use symmetry to my advantage here and kind of do like a shape like that and something like that. It might be easier to draw, like when I'm doing flowers and I want them to be, you know, circular, so to speak. It's easy to like put out some guides of like where all the petals are gonna go, and then draw them in. So there we go. That makes it a little bit easier for me. So they have kind of like a little nub there. There we go. And then the one down here. Oops, let me do that one again. There we go. That's a little bit easier. And then I'm gonna use that same brush as an eraser. So I just tap and hold the eraser to choose it as the eraser. And I wanna draw these little like circle-y things in the middle. Something like that. So I've got that flower. And then I'm gonna have this go down and do some leaves. Now these leaves, I don't know if these are the leaves for the flower, but this is like a motif like that I've seen in folk art. And if it's, you know, if it's helpful to you, what I would probably do is, maybe I don't want that far, bring up Pinterest on your little split screen and have like some of the folk art things, so you can look for little elements that you can incorporate, like, oh, maybe I'll do my leaves in this style, or, you know, look at some of the different ones and different like ways that you can depict certain things. So you can see these like repeating leaves where it's like one leaf on each side and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna keep my little sketch I made over there up for now. Okay, so that's kind of my big focal point, and then I'm gonna add some more things. Like, I definitely wanna have some shooting stars, so maybe I'll have one kind of going like this. Stars can be hard. You can always, if you can't freehand them like that, you can always do them, you know, like this. Although that's not that great either, but that's okay. It's just a sketch. We can make it look better later. So I'll kind of do like a shooting star thing going that way. Maybe I can do, actually maybe I'll do another one going down this way first. Yeah, I'm gonna do something like that, kind of coming out here. And what we're kind of aiming to do is like fill all the space up. Not to have a lot of free space, because it's a very, very decorative style, and you kind of try to fill in as much space as possible with different elements. We can have little, something like that, and then maybe this one can go like this. There. Cool. Yes, I like that. Maybe we can do another flower like this one right here. So that one's more kind of pointy petals. I like that. That's good. And then I know, don't know what I just did there. Like there's a lot of these kind of like vine shapes. I noticed when I was like researching the folk art, so I'm gonna incorporate some things like that. Maybe we can have one going down this way. Yeah, some leaves. Although it's getting a little too close to this edge, so I'm gonna redo that. There we go. The problem with, well, one of the problems with symmetry is you can't transform symmetrically. So if I just wanted to like select, like if it was too close, if I wanted to select this and move it, it doesn't repeat over there. So sometimes you just have to like redraw things instead of like editing them afterwards. Kind of one of the downsides. It's okay. This one's all about like the process and just taking the time to sit and do it. And yeah, let's do, I really like this flower. I don't remember the names, but it was cool. It had these like thinner, like pointy petals kind of sticking out of the side. So maybe we'll do something like that over here. And you can draw on either side. Like I could draw it here and it would repeat here. I could draw here and it would repeat there. So whatever like is more comfortable for you, that's what you should do. So this one is kind of made up of like 3 petals. And then some like those sticking out the side. So we can kind of depict that, something like that maybe. Maybe we'll do one more like that. And then we'll draw a little stem. Cool. See, we're just kind of filling in all the spaces. Let me look at my other flowers and see which other ones I can do. This one was a cool one. These sketches are very, very simple. But this was like a little flower with petals and then these like cool little bud things. So let me see if I can find a way to incorporate that. Maybe I can do that over in this space. I'm just kind of like looking at the space that I have and then filling it in. That one kind of goes like that. There, something like that. And then we'll do maybe a different kind of stem. Something like that. Very simple. And we can even do like the little bud, which they kind of looked like this with like lines like that. Maybe a leaf like that. There we go. Okay. So we've got a few flowers going on. I think we definitely need to incorporate some more of the space elements or this night sky element. So like some more stars and things like that. I do want to do some just little like kind of sparkle symbols. So something like that. That's kind of how I do like my stars and sparkles and things like that. So we can kind of do a few of those, and then we'll also use that to kind of fill in areas that are empty a little bit later. I have these really cool, these flowers, which were like long and skinny, and then they had this bloom at the end, which were really pretty. So maybe I can put those like in this area here. So let me draw the little, like that part of it first. Maybe we'll do a couple of those. And then have them kind of go like that. And then this one, I'm gonna erase that, move it over a little. See, these flowers kind of look like stars too. They really echo the star shape and go with the theme very well. And then we'll do some like stems for those. And leaf. There we go. And then they just kind of fit in that little space very well. So we're just filling in the spaces.
Someone was asking if they can turn symmetry off and on while working.
Absolutely. So if there's something you wanted to draw that wasn't going to be symmetrical in this piece, you can go to your layers. You can tap the layer. See how it says assisted? That means that it's got that reflection thing happening. So you just tap it and you turn off drawing assist. And now if I draw over here, it's not going to be reflected over there. So, and you can also, another thing that you could do, which we're probably going to do at some point during this, is have another layer that does not have assisted turn on, drawing assist turn on. And same thing, it's not going to be reflected because I don't have drawing assist turned on that layer. You can turn it on and off per layer, which is going to be important as we, start to work with layers. So let me get rid of all that. And the extra layer. Okay, we're back down to the one layer. We're still working on one layer, guys. So a lot of this process is like doing the sketch, getting that all going. And then once we start coloring it in, it goes a little bit faster, but right now we're planning and just enjoy the process. It is, a little slow, but it's also really therapeutic too, I think. So, I think I'm going to do some like greenery kind of coming around this way. So I'm going to do that next. Maybe something like that. And we can have the leaves. And we'll do them on this side too. And if you guys if there's any questions I can answer, Jeff can throw them at me and I can do it while I'm drawing. What else can we put right here? Definitely want to do some constellations too in there. I don't know if I want to do the planets. You don't really just see those in the sky. Maybe I'll put a little star. I like these like 6-pointed stars too, so maybe I'll try one of those. Oops. Just for some different shapes. That one's not that great. Sometimes it's easier to give yourself structure before you draw something. So if I wanted to draw a 6-pointed star, I could start with a like 6-pointed like asterisk kind of symbol. There we go. That makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm not going to have those lines in the end, so I can just erase them. I can also do, maybe I'll do like kind of a Big Dipper kind of little constellation over here. For my constellations, I'm just kind of drawing dots and lines. And I can have it kind of curving around. I don't know if that's the right amount of stars for the Big Dipper, but looks like the Big Dipper to me, so that works. And then I can put some other little things like that, kind of in between. Maybe I'll do a star over here. And maybe one down here. We can do like the 6-pointed one. I like those. So, well, I'm going to freehand it. Sometimes it's easier to freehand it, sometimes not. But if you're not feeling confident in your freehanding skills, like practice, first of all. But just keep trying. We can always make it look better in the real version. I'm going to put like a fakey constellation here, one that I'm just like going to make up maybe. You can make up stuff. You could do real constellations, or you can make stuff up. I don't know. We could do something like that. Why not? Kind of looks like a constellation. Okay, so this area is getting pretty full. It's looking really nice. I kind of want to give this area some attention too. We can do maybe another flower over here, which would be nice. I don't know, I kind of like this same shape. I feel like you see this shape a lot in folk art, so this like kind of flowery shape. So I'm going to use that. Maybe we'll do one like right here. I'll do that. We'll have the stem. We'll do maybe a leaf on either side. And maybe we'll do another of those vines to kind of echo the ones down here coming around. So we'll do something like that. And a star. It's hard to draw a star with symmetry turned on. It's harder and easier. It does half of it for you, but then it like messes with my flow of drawing stars. Yeah, that one's not that great, but that's okay. It's just a sketch. All right, we'll draw some leaves on here. There we go. It's kind of bigger. I like that. So that's looking pretty good. I think I just need to like fill in here and maybe here, and maybe I'll do some more like stars or constellations or something, and then I think that should be pretty good, and we can move on to coloring.
Real quick, just can you show the tool? Someone was saying like, hey, I always get the tops of my circles are always a little flats when I'm drawing them. Can you just show that little trick one more time?
Yep. Let me draw this constellation. So that would be quick shape. Maybe we'll do a little one of those. So quick shape is when you draw, so if you draw a really not circular circle like this one, and you don't lift your pencil up, it will turn into like a smooth shape. And if you want it to turn into a perfect circle, you put a finger down somewhere else on the canvas, and then it will become a perfect circle. And you could also edit it by going here to edit shape. You can make it bigger, you can move it around, you can change, you know, to an oval. So that's quick shape, and it works with squares, rectangles, triangles, all kinds of different shapes, weird polygons. But yeah, if you look up quick shape and quick line, because it does work for lines, if you're not very good at drawing straight lines, it will work for lines as well. If you put a finger down, it will snap. So if you want a perfectly horizontal line or a vertical line, you can do that. It's a very handy feature. Good job, Procreate. Let's draw. I'll try this 6-pointed star over here. Maybe I'll, yeah, it's kind of. And then I'll do another little 5-pointed star right there. Maybe like one of those little diamondy stars over here. Overall, this is looking pretty good. Maybe one more little asterisk or something like that. And there we go. All right, so this is a very full composition. The space is really filled. I'm just gonna keep it as like this kind of circular shape or oval, almost egg shape. I'm not gonna fill in the corners or anything like that. I think that's good. But there still is a focal point, like there's something that stands out. Sometimes when you're doing very busy artwork like this, like it can just be very overwhelming and everything can kind of get lost in each other. But that's why I kind of kept it like the moons so big, so that there's something that your eye is immediately drawn to, which for me at first is like the moons and then this flower in the middle. And then we've got all these other elements to explore for the viewer to explore. So now we're ready to move on to coloring. I'm gonna get rid of this sketch, but I will pull up, actually I'll pull up the Pinterest board because I kind of have an idea about colors, but it's also good to see how things are colored. Like these leaves, they're like kind of green, light green on the outside and then dark green on the inside. Here we've got some cool, like, I don't know, like I like the line work here to go from one color to the next. That's kind of neat. So it's always good to like make observations about what kind of things you see in this style of artwork. Like these little decorative elements on the flowers are kind of cool. So I'm just gonna leave that up and maybe I'll look over to it every now and then to get an idea of color. Okay, let's move on. Do we have any questions before I do that?
A lot of people are saying that this is hard.
And you guys keep in mind that I have drawn this once before already. So your thought process about where to put things and what to put where might take longer than how I'm doing it here. Like that's something to keep in mind with any of these videos. You know, they are slower paced than some other of my tutorials for sure, because we're doing it live. But like I've already gone through the mental process of like figuring things out and how to do things. So don't feel bad if it's going to take you longer, you know, to do this. You can always come back and watch the video later. If you're on YouTube, you can pause it. I think that might mess up, like, you know, if you are following along live, but
it just changes comments.
You just get the comments late, and like the giveaway stuff might, but we'll email you if you win the giveaway, so don't worry about that. But yeah, don't worry if it takes you longer than it's taking me.
Do not be afraid to hit pause.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid to take a break. Like,
absolutely.
Be easy on yourself, you guys.
Yeah, and this type of artwork, like, it's just so conducive to being calming, like, because it's got the symmetry thing happening. You're just kind of like filling in little areas. Like don't stress yourself out about it. This one can be really stress relieving. So let it be. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so for the background, I'm gonna do like a blue, probably like a dark blue color. So that way everything on top of it will pop and it'll kind of be reminiscent of like the night sky. So I'm gonna go over to my layers. I'm gonna go to background color. And I'm gonna go ahead and choose, I don't know, maybe like a dark navy kind of color. And then I'm gonna reduce the opacity of my sketch, which, and I know if you guys have been following me and watching my tutorials a lot, I usually turn my sketch to multiply blend mode, which actually makes it almost harder to see here. So you might have to turn the opacity back up, or I could also turn it to screen. which will make it lighter than the background. So whichever one's easier for you to see like your sketch on, you can set it to that. I'm gonna try screen and we'll go forward with that. Okay, so now I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna put the layer below my sketch because I always want my sketch to be on top to act as a guide for me. And then I'm gonna start with the moons. So for my color, I'm gonna choose, I don't know, like a yellowy with a little bit of black in it, maybe something like that. That's what I'm choosing for the moon. Kind of a moon color, if that's such a thing. And then for the brush I'm gonna be using, I'm probably just gonna stick to like one brush for this whole thing. Something without a lot of texture that's pretty solid. So I'm gonna go into my basic toolkit and I'm gonna choose the Inker Streamline. And this brush has like a tiny bit of texture on the edges, but it's pretty solid. But it has the streamline feature enabled, which helps smooth out your lines as you draw them. So that's really helpful if you want to get like smooth, you know, nice smooth lines. If you don't have this set, this is one that I made. If you don't have that set, another alternative, which would, let me see, under the inking set, you could try like the syrup brush. That one's pretty solid. And it does have some streamlining, so that's a good alternative if you don't have this brush. So I'm using, again, the Inker Streamline from Basic Toolkit. If you don't have that, try Syrup from the built-in inking set. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do, because we talked about this a little bit already, is I need to make sure that Assist is turned on this new layer that I made. So I'm just gonna tap it and hit Drawing Assist. And that will be sure, you know, that'll make sure that anything I draw on this side will appear on that side. So anytime we create a new layer, we're gonna have to do that if we want it to be reflected. So sometimes I forget, so if you guys see me forget, say something.
One more time, which brush are you using?
This was from my Basic Toolkit. It's the Inker Streamline. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and draw all my moon shapes. I'm using the quick shape feature and I'm gonna hold down to make it a perfect circle. It did like a weird thing there. I'm gonna redo it. I don't know why I did that. It's hard to do it when the symmetry is on because this one's like right on the line. So, and it kind of did a little weird thing there. Maybe I could just fill that in. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna use Color Drop to fill in a lot of what I'm doing today. So, one thing you guys want to adjust, like make an adjustment to possibly, is your color drop threshold. So let me make it not good for real quick. Okay, so if you fill in your shape and then it has this like weird thing, or if it's just spilling out everywhere, you just have to adjust your color drop threshold, which means you drag it in, you don't lift up your pencil, and then you adjust until that blue line fills in, is across and fills in as much as you need it to be. I'm gonna go pretty high, because this brush doesn't have a lot of texture, but it has a little. So I'm like at 88%. I'm gonna redo this. This is like bothering me actually. So I think it might be easier in this case for me to do this shape. The symmetry is really throwing me off with this circle that's right on the line. I'm just gonna put it on another layer without the assist turned on. So now I'm just drawing a circle without the symmetry thing. And then I'll make it a perfect circle. I could just move it to where I want it to be. There we go. That's just easier for me. That's right on the line. I'll move it up a little bit actually. There we go. And now I'll fill it in. Okay. So now I'm going back to the one that I have assist turned on, and I'm gonna do the other moons. So for these moons, I am actually gonna switch now to the like shadow color that I'm gonna use to draw this, and then I'll draw the like crescent part over the top. So I'm gonna select this blue color that I've used as my background. I'm just gonna get like a lighter, maybe I'll go a little more this way, lighter version of it. Maybe a little bit lighter than that even. Something like that. So this is like gonna be the shadow color of the moon. I'm gonna make those perfect circles and fill them in. Just clean that little spot up. There we go. And I'll do this one as well. I'm just gonna draw these circle shapes in this kind of like shadow color. And fill them in. If you get this like thing where they don't meet up perfectly and you're doing the quick shape, there's something you can do. Like overlap your line a little bit and then hold it down, and you won't get that.
We are having trouble on Insta right now. Hold on. Oh, no, we're good.
No, we're okay.
We're okay.
Instagram people, I just want to mention to you guys, our feed will time out after 1 hour.
So in 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh, wow. That sketch did take a long time. Thank you for hanging out with me, you guys. So we'll get it going again right away. But if you get kicked out, just join us again. But also, YouTube doesn't do that. So if you want to watch there, you won't have that problem. Okay, cool. So I've got like the moon shadows, and now I am going to, I'm going to add in the like moon part of it with a clipping mask. So I'm going to hit plus to create a new layer. I'm going to turn this layer to a clipping mask, and that will mean I can only draw within these shapes I've already drawn. And then I do want to make sure I turn on drawing assist on that new layer.
Someone was just asking, what is your opacity?
100%, it's all the way up. I don't know if that's what you were asking. So now, if that wasn't what you were asking, definitely clarify and I'll answer it again. So now I can only draw within the shape I've already drawn, which is great for these like drawing in the like moon, the lit up part of the moon. So something like that. I'm trying to get it. There we go. Oops. Okay, color drop doesn't work because that's not actually a filled in shape. There we go, I had to fill in the edge. And then we'll do a half moon here. Gotta make sure that's a closed shape before we use color drop. And then this one's just gonna be like a crescent on this side. I'll just color that in by hand. There you go. So we've got some moon phases happening. So if, yeah, I'll keep going. Okay, so let's get to work on some of the flowers and things like that. I'm gonna go back to this layer here, not the one with the clip, because that would only draw within these moon shapes. So I think I'm gonna do this flower as like a, almost white, not quite white. And I'm just using my sketch as a guide to draw these petal shapes. Like that. A little bit more. And then I can color drop that in. And I'm gonna redo this last one a little bit thinner. There we go. Okay. And then for the stem, I'm gonna actually put that on a layer underneath so that I can make sure it goes behind that little flower shape. So I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna put it below the one with the moons and the flower. This will be for my greenery here. Then I'm gonna choose like a green, maybe something like that, if you guys wanna check out the color I've chosen. And I do wanna make sure that drawing assist is turned on that layer. So I just tap it and turn on drawing assist, make sure there's a check and it says assisted right there. And then I'm going to, the symmetry makes it a little hard to draw this line. It's okay, that's fine. Makes it easy to draw these these leaves. There we go. And then I can fill that in like that. And I'm just laying out all the basic shapes right now. I'm not worried about adding any like colorful details like we were inspecting when we were looking over there. So just the shapes for now, and then we'll go back and add details afterwards. And I'm gonna sharpen the tips of my leaves. I'm gonna choose the same brush that I've been using as the brush for the eraser by tapping and holding the brush or the eraser icon. And that'll choose the Inker Streamline as my eraser. And then I'm just erasing away a little bit of the tip of those leaves to make them pointier. I want my leaves to be pointy. There we go.
Are you on the same layer for the flowers?
I am on a different layer actually. because I wanted to make sure I could draw it right up and underneath that. So I just put it on a layer underneath it. And maybe I can do certain things like keep all my greenery on one layer, perhaps. Everything in this composition is so close together, it might actually be better to have things on separate layers, but it doesn't really matter too much. Maybe I'll just come over here and start working on these over here. Oops, there we go. So I'm just, and Jeff, feel free to throw out any questions. I'll let you know if I'm good.
Someone's asking, because Lisa, you love color. Your colors are always so bright. My colors are never as bright as yours when I choose them. So one, we actually had someone go, hey, can you start uploading the color palettes from what you do each day? I was telling Riley that I've been begging you to do this. And then another person just asked that question about how do I get those brighter colors?
So I think it would be better for you guys to learn how to choose the brighter colors than for me to just give them to you. Jeff's been asking me to make more color palettes. That's why he's saying that. So when you're choosing colors, first of all, using the disc view, which is the first one, is really beneficial. And I usually stay in this area of the disc when I'm choosing my colors. Like this area right here, kind of at what, like 2 o'clock, is the most saturated version of any of these hues. So the closer you are to that, the more bright and colorful your colors are going to be. And the further down you go, they're just gonna get like, you'll add more black. This way you'll add more gray. And then, you know, here in the middle is probably like the muddiest kind of version of that color. So sticking up here in this area is going to give you the most saturated version of the colors. I tried to show you guys kind of the colors that I'm picking. All right, filling this in. Any more questions? I'm gonna take a few more. I could use color drop here, but there's such little small spaces that it's like faster just to color it by hand. And then I'm going to use my eraser to kind of crisp up the edges of these leaves. Make them pointy. I like my pointy leaves, you guys know that. And I can even cut off the top of that if I wanted that to be like a nice sharp edge. So I can do that as well. There we go. I'll go that way with that one. And then I'll cut off the bottom of that. Cool. And then of course it's automatically doing it on the other side for me, which is awesome. And you can kind of just like jump around to different elements. I think I'm gonna do a few flowers now. I'm gonna go back to this layer that I already have the flower on, because maybe I can do my flowers on that layer and then my like stems underneath them on the layer below it. Let's see, we'll do this one. I remember this was a white flower, so I'm gonna do that one in white. When I looked it up online, I don't know what the name of the flower is, but it was white. I remember that.
How many layers are you using right now so far?
I have my sketch. I have this moon, which was like the one that I didn't use symmetry to make. I have the one that I clipped to make the like moon phases, and then the like moon circles, and this is also flowers, and then the greenery. So what's that, 5 so far? All right, fill that in. Do these guys too.
Someone's asking if you're going to keep doing these live sessions because they really love them.
I really love them too, you guys. Like, I don't know why it took me so long to do this. Just took a pandemic, that's all. Yeah, I do. We're gonna do them next week. We have plans to do them next week. Until this baby is born, really. And then we're gonna take a break for a little bit, so maybe you can catch up on the ones you missed. But yeah, and then once we've had, you know, some time off with our baby, we'll come back and do some more again, because they're really fun. I really enjoy them a lot, and I'm really glad you guys do too. Okay, I'm going to my layer with all the plants now. And maybe I'll do like a darker green for this one. It's good to like, you know, switch up the colors that you're using, mix in it. Like if I'm doing a bunch of greenery, I should do some different greens. Yeah, this is a good time for Q&A, you guys, because it's really like slow process. Not much to explain. I'm drawing leaves right now. Yeah.
Someone's asking, is it normal that I cannot do color drop unless I use a reference?
You don't need a reference to do color drop. I know we did that in some of our other videos, but you just need a closed shape. Like if you draw a shape like this and try and color drop that, the color's just gonna, you gotta imagine it's just gonna spill out everywhere. So it just has to be a closed shape. And we talked a little bit about color drop threshold at the beginning. You also have to make sure that's turned up to the right level. There we go. I'll open that one off. Let's do this little flower here. Maybe this one can be like an orange. I don't know if it's orange in real life, but it kind of reminds me of a poppy, so that's what I'm drawing.
Someone was asking, how do you preset your canvases to be vertical or horizontal?
That's something you set up in the canvas templates. So basically it just has to do with making sure your dimensions are either longer on the width or the height, and it will be vertical or horizontal. So this one was 4,000 pixels across the top by 5,000 down. If I had written it 5,000 by 4,000, then it would go this way. But you can just turn it as well. It might mess up your time lapse a little bit, but you can always just work sideways. You can turn it in gallery view. You just take the little icon and you twist it. So when you like go to gallery, you can do that. We'll do the little bud here. And again, I'm just choosing colors that are pleasing to me, regardless of the actual real life colors of these flowers. Like that's totally fine too. It's your art. If you wanted to make like an accurate scientific description of these like nighttime flowers, maybe you do it differently, but I am not. Okay, I'm gonna go to, I meant to put on the flower layer instead of the one with the plants, but that's okay. I'll just make another layer. Sometimes the layers, sometimes I don't get them exactly right. That's fine. Just make more layers. I just wanna make sure Drawing Assist is turned on any new layer that I create. So I'm gonna do like a little nub there.
How do you do a straight line?
That would be quick line. 1 second, let me draw this and I can show that to you again. Erased. Oops.
And then someone was just asking which layer you went back to do the flowers. Did you go to the moon layer again?
I meant to put it on the moon layer, but then I just kept drawing and I forgot, and now it's on the one with the plants. I could move it, but it's fine. I'll just create another layer. It's really about knowing like what is behind what things, and I just know that I needed some stems behind this, so it'd be easier for me to draw right there. So I just made another layer for that. Like the layers don't 100% matter on this kind of particular type of art. But I will go back to that layer to draw this. I'm gonna make it a little more on the lime green for this one. Oh yeah, quick line. So draw your line and don't pick up your pencil. Notice that created an arc. It also does arcs. So don't lift up your pencil and that'll make a straight line. And if you put your pencil or your finger down, then it'll snap. You just keep throwing them at me, Jeff. Keep asking questions. I can talk about other stuff too. It doesn't have to be like Procreate. It could be more art related. I don't know, whatever you guys want. I'm an open book for the most part. I'm happy to share whatever you guys want to hear about.
Connor was just asking what brush you're using right now.
I have been using the same brush the entire time, which is from my basic toolkit. It's called Inker's Streamline. If you don't have that set, try the syrup brush from the built-in Procreate set. It's in the inking set. Yeah.
So I was talking about like exporting layers and using another program like Illustrator or Photoshop. What would you recommend if I wanted to work on this in another application?
Well, it would depend on the application. You can export your artwork out as a Photoshop file and bring it into Photoshop. I've done that to do things like, I don't use Photoshop for much these days. I try to do most of it in Procreate just because I like using it so much more. Some of the things I do use Photoshop for are creating repeat patterns. I haven't found a good way to do that in Procreate that isn't like super unintuitive and annoying. And then like resizing things for the web is the only thing. But yeah, you can export as a Photoshop file and that will retain all your layers and everything like that. So I hope that answers that question. If I can clarify, just let me know. I'm gonna go back to this layer with the moons.
Someone was asking, how do you calculate the price of your art?
Ooh, that's not a good question for me. I don't know.
I know. So,
I would recommend my friend Brooke Lasser. She teaches on Skillshare, and she has a really great class about art and business. Maybe you can find. Maybe Jeff can find a link to her class. Yeah. She's got a really great class. That's not my purpose in teaching you guys. Like some people teach about, you know, art and business and making money and things like that. I'm more on the side of like art and just personal enjoyment and, you know, improving your skills and everything like that. So yeah, I want you guys to do it. I mean, you can do it for any reason you want. Like I do not judge you at all. If you want to sell your art, I think that's amazing. And if you can make money off of making art, like awesome. That is great. Like that's a lot of people, that's the dream, right? Like I wanted to do that for a long time. And like I would fantasize about like, real talk. Like I went through a phase of, I don't know, I was a wedding photographer and not feeling very satisfied in that role. And I really wanted to do more with art. And I just wanted people to like my art and like appreciate it. I'm sure you can relate. Like I just wanted people to like what I was doing and like wanted it. That was kind of like something that I wanted. And I know I have a little bit of like this like ashamed feeling in my throat because I don't know. There's this stigma about like just making art for art's sake, and it doesn't matter what other people think, but like it does matter. Like people, you care what other people think. Like that's true. Like that's just, you know, human, I think. Anyways, but like what happened was in the end, like I tried to do something like that and I don't know, it just didn't work out for me. And once I really started like sharing what I was doing, which is exactly what I'm doing now, is like I'm just kind of like giving away my knowledge as much as I possibly can. That's when things really shifted for me. So that's kind of like my philosophy now is like any success that I've had is due to me giving myself away and giving away my knowledge and sharing with the community. And I feel like I can have more impact on the world by teaching than by just people liking my art. Not that there's anything wrong if that is what you want. Like people do like my art. Like they tell me all the time and they like my drawings and things like that. So I still get that. So I don't know. I'm just kind of going off on a tangent a little bit about that topic. I hope that all made sense. I'm kind of trying to draw and talk at the same time, so.
People were asking, where did the turtles come from? And I've been asked a couple times.
I bought these guys in Mexico, I think when I was like, I don't think it was one of our trips, no.
No, one of ours maybe. That we
maybe one of ours.
To buy more. I mean, at least one of our trips we bought one of them.
Yeah, these are from Mexico. I think I bought them when I was there as a teenager, so many, many moons ago. Let's see. I went to Mexico. Half my family is Mexican, so my mom is Mexican, so I am half Mexican. and I got to go spend about 6 weeks there as a teenager and teach at my aunt's school. She lives in Mexico City. And I got to work with like little kids. My students were, I think they were like the 5-6-year-old range. I forget. But I taught art, of course. I was like the arts and crafts teacher there, and I'm not fluent in Spanish or anything, but their whole goal was to learn how to speak English. So it was great for them to have an English-speaking teacher there teaching them. So we did all kinds of fun arts and crafts stuff, and then of course like all my family came later, and we had like a big family reunion and like shopping with the pyramids and everything like that. It was awesome. I love Mexico. It's been too long since, well, actually that's not true. Jeff and I just went back to Mexico last summer for our 10-year wedding anniversary. We've been married for 10 years.
And we happened to bring back home this little baby that is born.
We brought home a little souvenir. Yes, but it was, we did like the whole all-inclusive resort thing because it was our anniversary. We just wanted to relax. So it wasn't exactly like authentic Mexican culture or anything like that. So I want to go back and spend time in Mexico City, see my family, and take the kids. Actually, I want them to experience that too. We love traveling as a family and traveling with our kids. We planned to take our new baby and the family to Paris this summer, but we don't get to now because of the pandemic. So maybe next summer we'll get to do that. There we go. All right, so making progress here, you guys. Slowly but surely. Just kind of chatting with you guys is nice too. I hope you're enjoying it as well and you're not like bored. I would actually, if you guys want to post up
where did you graduate college from? Because I'm interested in what you majored in, which is graphic design. So Riley knows what you majored in, but where did you go to school?
Yeah. I was going to say before that, sorry, I will answer that question. I want to hear what you guys are working on, like at the same time, if you guys are doing this or if you're doing something else. But I'm going to answer that question now. I went to school at Sacramento State University, right here in Sacramento where I live and grew up, and I'm very deeply rooted here in Sacramento. And they have a really great graphic design program. And so I got to do that when it was a pretty new program. They were just kind of like overhauling it. And you had to like apply to get in. And like you were in this cohort for 2 years with the same people, which was really cool. I loved it. And it was a really great program. And I learned so many awesome things that helped me out. Like design wise, like really helped me out as an artist and as a business owner and things like that. So I really, really loved it. And I also double majored. I did photography as well.
So I was asking, are all your layers on multiply?
None of my layers are on multiply. The only thing I have a blend mode set on is the sketch layer. And I actually have that set to screen, and that's what makes it appear kind of lighter than everything else. But I'm not using any blend modes. I probably will not use any blend modes for this piece. And definitely let me know if there's more you guys want me to explain. I'm just kind of like drawing these shapes, filling them in, kind of mixing up the greens I'm using. I'm gonna go do this one now.
I just wanted to say this. Someone was just saying, hey, I'm working from home while I'm watching this. I started sketching again because of your channel. I don't have an iPad yet, but your drawings have inspired my paper sketches.
Good.
And yeah, that's just it, you guys. Like, whatever you have, whatever tool you have, just keep using it to be creative.
Yeah, I am not like a purist and being, I'm not going to be like, you should only use Procreate and iPad because that's the best thing you could possibly use. Not true. The best thing you can use is the one that you like using. I think that is amazing. And we have this making art every day thing, but I 100% do not restrict people participating to like using iPad, using Procreate, using my brushes. Like none of that matters. What matters is that you make art. Like, and I remember one person last year was joining and made all these really cute paper cut collages, like physically cut paper, and they were doing that way. And I've seen people do it with painting and just drawing and, you know, pencil sketches. Like even if you did one pencil sketch every day, you would learn so much. And this is just a skill, like you doing digital art is a skill like any other medium. There's things that are very unique to digital art that are not, you know, like you would never use something like an alpha mask. Well, maybe something like an alpha mask, but there's no alpha mask in painting. There's no layers. I mean, kind of in painting. It's very different. So this is just a skill that you can learn like any other medium. But the drawing skill, that to me is key. Like you can apply drawing to a million other things. So the actual act of drawing, I think, is the most important part. Let's do our little star up here.
Someone was asking, what kind of exercises do you do to get better?
Draw every day. Sorry, that's a BS kind of answer, but that is literally like draw every day. Try and draw things, and if you're new, it's probably not going to look that great at first, but that's okay. Just persist through it and keep trying and keep trying. I did a little, me and Jeff, when was that? 2018, I think?
I don't know, I have to look back.
So
I'll look it up.
Jeff is creative for sure. He is definitely a creative person, but he doesn't have the like drawing skill. It's not his skill set. He is photography, video, like he's really creative problem solver, cooking,
woodworking,
building, all kinds of things. Drawing is not one of those things.
Engineering, electrical wiring to wire up our own LED panels.
Yeah, creativity comes in many forms, you guys.
I am not an illustrator.
Yeah, so back in 2018, Apple released the iPad, the 9.7-inch iPad, and it was the first iPad that wasn't an iPad Pro that supported the Apple Pencil. So he wanted to get it, and he wanted to start to learn to draw. And of course, I would be his his teacher. So we started this little series. We didn't make it very far, but we did it for a few weeks.
It was June 2018.
Yeah.
2018,
oh no, that's probably April, wasn't it?
No, when we actually started it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the beginning was.
Yeah.
April. Yeah.
I know my dates. So I made all these little like lessons for him, and kind of based off some lessons I had found online. If you go to my Lisa Bardot like Instagram stories, I think I saved them as a highlight in there, and you can also go to Jeff's account. Do you want me to give them your account?
You can give us Jeff Drawing.
Jeff Drawing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's his. We made him like a little Instagram account, and you can kind of see where he started. And that's like where most people that never have drawn before that's what it would look like. And no offense to Jeff, but you know, it looks like a kindergartner draws it, because like kindergartners are new to drawing, just like any other adult who is new to drawing. That's not to be an insult or anything. That's just like a starting place. So, but we did some exercises, but just about like trying to draw straight lines and, you know, circles and shapes and like basic things like that to kind of just train your muscles to get down on paper, like what's in your head. And that's like a big part of it. And that's what practice is all about, is just kind of like translating what is in your head and being able to reproduce that with your hands. Just like if you wanted to play piano, your fingers would need to learn what to do. So I think that was your question. I forget. We kind of went off on it. A lot of tangents today. Today is a tangent day. All right.
Someone was asking earlier, how do you decide what mode to set each layer to?
It just depends on what effect you would want. And I want to do like an intensive like class on blend modes, because I think it would be very helpful. Like I've shown you guys a couple, like what different blend modes you can do for specific reasons and things like that. But there are many more, and they do some pretty cool stuff. If you go to my live video about abstract art, we did do some experimentation with blend modes, and it was pretty cool. Like you kind of just, really the best way to get familiar with them is to see what they do. Like just turn it on and see what it does. So, but yeah, it'd be difficult to just answer that question, I think. I'm drawing some of my constellations now, just in white, and I just put them on their own layer just because I thought that might be handy. But also make sure you turn on drawing assist whenever you create a new layer. Is anybody posting like what they're working on, like as they're following along, if they're doing night sky or doing their own thing? I would love to know.
And real quick, could you explain the masking tool again? Because I had a couple people asking, what's the difference between alpha, clipping, and then someone was also asking, how do I adjust one of the sides of the stars with the symmetry tool turned on when I don't want them both sides being affected?
Let me talk. I'll do the symmetry answer. Because I actually maybe explain that one more time in your question, and I'll try and answer that because maybe I don't quite understand what you're asking.
Symmetry question?
Yeah, no, like to the person that posted it. Yeah. If you guys, whoever said that, if you want to.
How do you edit the points on stars and leaves without affecting the opposite?
Oh, without?
Yes.
Well, you could temporarily turn off drawing assist. So you just tap it and then you just turn it off. And now I can edit this side without it affecting this side. In fact, I will show you what I'm gonna do for the moons. So I'm just gonna skip ahead and add some detail to this. I still have a few more things to like finish doing, but I think it would be good for you guys to see this. So let's do it this way. I'm gonna go to this layer first. Well, I'll do the big moon first. So I'm just gonna create, okay, because we also had the question about alpha lock and clipping masks. So I will do the moon as an alpha lock, and I'll do the smaller moons as clipping masks, so you can see the difference. So if I want to turn on alpha lock, I just swipe to the right on that layer with 2 fingers, and I'll get this like checkerboard pattern, and then you'll see the alpha lock is checked. So now anything that I draw is confined to that shape. I can't draw anywhere else. I could draw on this star because it's on the same layer. Get rid of that. So I'm going to choose like a darker, I'm going to add some like craters and things to the moon. So I'm just going to like draw some little shapes and dots and things like that just to give it a little like moon-like texture. And so if I wanted one to go off, you know, I can draw it here and it'll go off the side without like appearing, you know, over there, if that makes sense. Draw. I don't know, just kind of like making this up as I go, varying the size of these different things. So, all right, so that's just, I didn't do that much, but we'll leave it there. So now I also have these other moon shapes, which I want to add the like texture to. So I could turn on alpha lock on this layer and I could draw them in and then it would be mirrored. But I kind of want each to be unique. So I'm going to put it on a new layer. So I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to set that layer to be a clipping mask by tapping it and hitting clipping mask. And you can see that well, actually these are clipped twice. It's clipped to here and here. So this might not actually work. Sorry, I'm not, yeah. I just want it to be confined to this shape. So maybe this isn't the best example. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna set it up so it works better and you can see it. I'm gonna select this layer, invert it, and then clear out the extra stuff from that layer. Okay. And now I'm going to turn off clipping mask. Don't worry, like you don't have to do any of this stuff that I'm doing. This is just so I can show you. Okay, so now I have these shapes and I'm going to turn on this layer as a clipping mask. I turned this one off. So this one is just clipped to these moon shapes. Okay, if I turn off that, you can see the like shape that's actually there. And so now I'm working on a new layer to add in these details. instead of doing it on the same layer, which is great because now if I'm like, oh, that one's ugly, I can just erase it. I can use transform and move things around. I can't do that on this layer because it's on the same layer. So that's alpha lock. It's on the same layer. Clipping mask is on a separate layer. That way you can manipulate it. That's the benefit of doing a clipping mask versus alpha lock, is that it's on its own layer. So now I can go through and add whatever kind of stuff that I want to add to make the moon. And I don't have assist turned on, so it's not going to go over here. I kind of want to make them all unique and not like reflected on the other side. Please let me know if that makes sense in the comments. I have a video about clipping masks and alpha lock if you guys want to like check that out. Jeff can probably throw it up in the comments. But it explains it maybe a little better than I am right now, and there's visuals and everything like that, so I would highly recommend checking that out. There's a lot that you can do with clipping mask and alpha lock and stuff. Add some dots there. Okay, cool. I've added some details to these moons. Let me turn this one back on. There we go. And they're all unique because I didn't have the, see, now I can just erase this one because it's on its own layer and redo it. Okay, cool. Let me just real quick go around and add the rest of that stuff on, and then I'll add some more details. Are you guys hanging in there and doing okay, I hope? Again, I'm happy to answer more questions and things like that. I know this one is kind of a slow process, but sometimes it's nice to be going slow. Any more questions, Jeff?
Someone's asking like, hey, do I have to have a matte screen? Does it help? Does it hinder? You know, some people love them, some people hate them.
I love them. I have a matte glass screen protector. I have a link to it on my YouTube page or on the video description of this. And then also I have an FAQ page on my website where I link to the one that I use. It's a matte glass screen protector. And I really like it because it makes everything more smooth, like gliding your pencil across. Oh, that's our doorbell. Probably Amazon. It's just a really nice feeling when you draw. It isn't so much about the glare, although it does take the glare down, so that might be helpful for some people. But it's more about that feeling that when your pencil glides across the screen. I find that without it, it's a little sticky, like when you're just using the glass. It just kind of like sticks a little bit. It doesn't, like when I have, the difference when I have it and when I don't is like night and day for me. It just feels so nice going across. So that's my preference. And this one that I'm using in particular doesn't really affect the, some of them do affect, like it makes it kind of look crystallized. It kind of affects the picture a little bit, makes it less clear. So this one seems to be pretty good. I haven't noticed any problems with it. I bought this one a few times because I really like the feel of it. They all have like a slightly different texture. So, yeah. What else you got, Jeff? Okay, we're almost there. Almost there, you guys. Maybe we'll do a star right there. Impromptu star. Okay, do we get everything in the sketch pretty much? I think so. Cool. All right, so I am done with laying out all the components as basic shapes without adding any detail in yet. I can also turn off my sketch at this point because it's not giving me any more information that I need. And now I'm gonna start adding in just not a lot of details, just a few little things to kind of give it a little more dimension, a little more interest. I'll start with this flower right here. So I'm gonna go to that layer And I'm gonna create a layer right above it. I might end up using clipping mask for this. So I'm just gonna turn on the clipping mask. So I'm gonna tap that layer and turn it to a clipping mask. And so really the thing is you wanna pay attention to what layer your layers are clipped to and things like that. All right, I'm gonna choose white. And I don't have assist turned on, which I do wanna have turned on. So I'm gonna tap that and hit drawing assist. And now I'm just gonna add a little bit of detail to these little petal shapes, kind of like that. And symmetry makes it nice and fast because it does both sides for you at the same time. And then maybe some little, I had those little like dots in the middle, so I'll do those in maybe like a yellow. Something like that. What else is on this layer? I have these the pink flowers, the white flowers. I can add some embellishment to here I'll do the pink because they're right here. So I'm just gonna get like a darker pink. Maybe add a little thing in the middle.
Someone was just asking, do you ever do realism, Lisa?
You know what? We did a painterly tutorial last Friday, was it?
I'm sure you did,
yeah. I don't. It's not my cup of tea, honestly. But we did do that tutorial, and you know, I can do it. It's not my favorite thing. I love stylization, and like I think you get to see inside the artist's brain a little bit more versus just seeing their skills. So that's why I like, you know, stylization. It's all about the choices that the artists make to depict something in a certain way versus just like reproducing what it looks like in real life. And I love seeing that, you know, when I look at other people's art. So that's what I like to make as well. But yeah, I mean, we did do that painterly tutorial recently. So you could check that one out, and that definitely is more realism. Okay, we're gonna do this guy. I get a little gray for that one. I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm kind of remembering some different things that I've seen over here when I'm adding detail to these. It's not, you know, realistic. Maybe I'll do like a little line underneath there or something like that.
What brush are you using again?
I am still using the Bardot Inker Streamline from Basic Toolkit. There. Cool, I like that. Anything else on this layer I can do? There's not a lot of stuff on that layer. So I'm gonna go down to the stuff in this layer. There's a lot more flowers and things. So I'm gonna tap that layer, create another layer, change it to, or turn on clipping mask, and also turn on drawing assist. So some of the things on this layer I see are like, you know, lots of leaves and flowers. I'm gonna go do these. I'll do the little orange flowers over here. And like, I think I saw, oh, maybe I can't see it. I'll just go ahead. I'm gonna do like a darker orange to add a little bit of something else to this, like that. Like this is like something that I saw in one of these. So adding just a little touch of extra color to make it look a little bit more detailed. We'll do something like that. And because I'm using a clipping mask, it's going right up to the edges, but not over. So that's great. That's what I wanted. And then we'll do like some little lines on this maybe. There we go. These flowers are also on that layer, so I'm gonna get a darker pink and do something similar. Oops, that's not correct. Grab that pink, get a little bit darker pink. And you guys are asking about color, and you can see I'm like kind of staying up in this area to get those really like bright colors. I just love bright colors. They make me very happy. You guys should see my house. It's very bright. What else is on this layer? This guy. Maybe we'll just do something simple like that. And right there. Okay. All right, what else can I add some detail to? Kind of did all the flowers now. Now I'm gonna work on the leaves a little bit, which are, a lot of them are on this layer, so that's great. And I'm just gonna do something really simple for these. Let's start with this one. I'm gonna select that color. Maybe I'll get like a darker, cooler version. Maybe a little bit darker, like that. Okay, and I'm just gonna like color in like half of it. So just adding a little bit of something without it being too detailed. But I think these little variations in color will really add like a lot of definition to your artwork. I'll go bigger with my brush, it's faster. There we go. And that looks good, I like that. And maybe for this one, I'll add like a lighter color. Maybe just like a little too light. Maybe just on like half the leaf or something like that. Actually, here, we'll do it this way, because this is the beauty of me having used a clipping mask, is like I can take it out too far. You know, it's like I don't want it on the stem, but I can go back and erase that later. So I'll just quickly draw in like half of it. It doesn't matter if it goes onto the stem a little bit, because I'm gonna erase that right now. So I'll just go in and just get rid of that. And I wouldn't be able to do that if it was an alpha lock. I could select the green and like paint over it, but I think it's just better to have it on separate layers. So now we've got a little bit of dimension there. Let's maybe do something similar here, which that one's on this layer. So create another layer, clipping mask, drawing assist. And I think the color is pretty good already. So let's add.
You're still using the inker, right?
Huh?
You're still using the
Yeah, I will not change my brush, you guys. I won't be for this one. I'm just doing everything with one brush, which is, what month am I gonna do that? I've got like the whole year almost planned out for making art every day, you guys. Well, maybe I'll tell you guys a sneak peek of what next month is gonna be at the end of this. But like we're gonna be doing a month where like the plus, which is like an extra element that you can use to like challenge yourself to be more creative, like the extra creative challenge is going to be restrictions, where maybe you do it only with one brush or only 3 colors, or I've got a bunch of other ideas and things that we can do, but I think that's going to be really fun. I actually love working from parameters, which is basically restrictions, like rules and things that you have to do in order for you know, to meet the to solve the problem. This is where I come from, like as a designer, as graphic designer, because we're always working with parameters. Like as an artist, you kind of have free range. You can do whatever you want because you're the artist. But when you're a graphic designer, you're working within parameters usually, where it has to be this size, or it has to communicate this message, or you know, you can only use these colors or whatever. And I actually like thrive on stuff like that. I love having that kind of restrictions put on me. Some people don't, like some people do not like having that. They just like to be free. But I think it actually makes me more creative, because it's like, okay, here's this problem I need to solve. I need to do this, and I need to make sure I do it in this way. What kind of creative solutions can I come up with in order to do that? So that's something that we're going to be exploring later on that I think a lot of you guys are going to like. And the plus, like the plus thing, that's something that we added this year. We didn't have the plus as a part of our practice last year. And it's always completely optional. So you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I think it really helps. And like seeing you guys create this month alone, like with the art styles and trying to incorporate that kind of stuff into your work, I think you guys have all grown so much from that. It seems to me, like looking at what you guys are creating and the way that you talk about it and stuff like that. It's something that's really going to help you grow a lot as an artist. So, yeah. Okay.
How do you change the color of a flower or leaf? Is it using select and transform tool? Was the question?
Well, it kind of depends. I mean, if you're talking about something that I'm doing right now, I'm just drawing over it with a different color. You could also use the hue, saturation, brightness adjustment to adjust colors. You could just literally just color drop in a different color if you have like alpha, or actually you don't need alpha lock turned on. You could just drop in another color and change it that way. So if I'm not understanding your question, let me know and I'll try and answer it a little bit better. Let's do the underside of the screen. There we go. So I'm just kind of blocking that in and then erasing away what I don't want. There we go. Okay, one more. I think that'll probably be the last thing that I'll do is kind of add some. Am I on the right layer? Yes. Maybe I'll just do this one like halfway like I did one of the other ones. Like that. Color that in. There we go. And then I'm just using the eraser to kind of, I want it to only cover half of the stem, so just touching that up a little bit. Okay, cool. I don't think there's any other details that I wanted to add to this piece. Feeling pretty good about it, so I think I'm gonna call it good and be done with it. And I can also turn off my drawing guide. Like, you don't even need to have the drawing guide turned on throughout the whole thing. Sometimes it's helpful, but as long as you have drawing assist turned on, like symmetry will still work. Let me go to this layer. Like symmetry will still work even if that line isn't turned on. You just have to have assist turned on. So that's kind of how that works. But yes, this is my folk art inspired piece of the night sky. I just realized one thing I wanted to add, which was some little lines to this. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. But in a second, we're gonna throw up the giveaway information. So if you guys want to be entered into the giveaway, I'll put that up in just a second. There we go, all done. So as you can see, like it's got a lot of things that echo this like folk art, kind of Scandinavian style with the symmetry and things like that. But since I brought my own element of the night sky into it, it's like a night sky interpretation of folk art. And I think it looks really cool. So if you guys are, let me pull this slide up. Come on, there we go. Okay, so there's the information for the giveaway, bardotbrush.com/giveaway. We're gonna close that up in just a minute. So if you want to get entered for that to win some brush sets from me, you can go ahead and do that now. And then I would love to see what you've made. So if you're posting your work to Instagram, please tag me so I can see it. At Bardot Brush. I'm also Lisa Bardot on Instagram. That's my personal one. So please, 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 like, that's kind of one of the thrills for me is like creating these tutorials is seeing what you guys make from it. So please do share. And I want to see it. So, so I think we'll give you guys one more minute to enter the giveaway, and then we'll close that up and do a Q&A. So go ahead and enter right now if you want. Again, we're going to be giving away a couple brush sets and then a couple master bundles, which is like all of my brush sets. So do enter. You'll be signing up for the newsletter, but you'll get really cool information like about making art every day. And I really hope that you think about joining that if you want to improve your skills. It's all completely free. So you just have to commit to doing it. And I think it's a really good thing to do. So, yeah, do we want to close that up or give it another minute?
We'll just give them another minute, but if there's any questions, you guys, make sure you post any questions that you may have right now.
yeah, we're going to do, we'll give it another couple minutes and we'll close it. And at that point, we'll do like we've done a lot of Q&A today, but we'll do some more. And Jeff will be downloading all the names and putting them through a randomizer, and then we'll call out the winners after the Q&A. So go ahead and do that. And also, like, I would love to hear about what you made during this time. I'm curious. I know a lot of you guys do follow along and like make it what I'm doing like during it, but sometimes people also like do their own thing and they just listen and kind of pick up some info. Whatever you do is cool. So yeah.
Someone did ask earlier, what is the name of our unborn son?
I don't know. We don't have a name that we agree on yet. With our son, he was 4 days old before he had an official name. So Jeff and I did not agree there. Our daughter, we knew when I was pregnant. Like we were both really happy with the name. So she had a name before she was born, and this one will probably be the same. I think he'll be born, and we'll take as many days as it takes to finally decide. We'll see. We'll let you know. We'll let you guys know.
What was the vector art app that you mentioned that can be used on an iPad?
Affinity Designer. I'm not super experienced with it. I'm more, I've used like Adobe Illustrator to do stuff like that on my computer. But that is one that is very popular, and it's an iPad app, so you could check that out. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and close this up so that Jeff can download the names, yeah?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
While I'm doing that, I'll ask a question.
All right, I'm going to do some Q&A.
Just ask. How did you start your career?
So I kind of touched on this a little bit, and career is kind of a loaded word to me. I don't know when that started per se. So I went to school for graphic design and photography, and then right towards the end of college, or right after I graduated, I think, yeah, it was maybe like a year after I graduated, we started a wedding photography business, and we did that for like 11 years or so, 11, 12 years. I mean, we still got a couple weddings this year if they don't get postponed. Hopefully not. I'm hanging in there for you guys, wedding people. It's a rough road that you're on right now. And at some point during that time, I felt the pull to shift more towards art, but I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. Like I said, I wanted to make stuff, and I wanted people to want those things so that I could make money doing it and make it something that I could use to support myself, but I didn't know exactly how to do it. And everything just kind of like happened. I don't know, like very organically. I decided I wanted to learn to draw better, so I decided I would draw every day for a year. That was what inspired the Making Art Everyday project. And Procreate. Like I found Procreate and the Apple Pencil, and I was like, this is amazing. And that prompted me to draw every day and improve my skills. And then there weren't brushes that I liked, so I decided to make brushes. And I decided to sell them. I thought other people might want them too. So I started selling them, and then I thought it would be good for people to like learn how to use them, like I use them, or however they want to use them. So I started teaching, and it's all kind of just rolled on from there. And then I decided to make making art every day and make that an official thing, and make prompts for you guys for every day of the year and write weekly emails. And that's what I started last year. And so it's kind of just like, I'm the kind of person that just like thinks of things and tries them. Like I like doing that. I like having ideas and then pursuing them. And so that's why it's hard to say like, what's your career? It's just kind of this ever evolving thing that I do. And it's always changing. So I don't think about your career as this like very concrete thing. Like just keep making stuff, and hopefully you'll find ways that you can turn it into work and make money off of it. Like there's lots of ways that you can do that. I highly recommend checking out the Creative Pep Talk podcast. If you're interested in like learning about art and business, it's all about creating a thriving creative career. hosted by Andy J. Miller, and he is just so enthusiastic and amazing. I love that podcast. So check out that if you want to learn more about like business and art. And then Jeff also threw up a link to my friend Brooke's art and business class on Skillshare. So I don't know if that was your question, but that's my story.
Someone was asking, can you do more food art?
Sure. I love food art. Yeah, I can definitely do that. I think like I'm trying to, and I want to hear from you guys, like your requests and things that you want to see, because we're just leaving this whole like art style exploration in April, because that's what we did for Making Art Every Day. And next month we're doing something different, but I also want to incorporate some other general type stuff. And I don't know, I just want to do like a mix of things with these live videos. So it is really important for me to hear from you guys what you want to hear. So I'll probably soon throw up some like Instagram surveys or surveys in the Facebook group to see what you guys would love to learn about.
All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to...
That's okay. Jeff's doing a few things at once over there.
Like 5 things at once. Yeah. I'm talking to you guys in YouTube. I'm making sure that I got our... I just did the automation for the list to randomly choose all of our winners. So I've got our 6 winners that we're going to give away. And let's see.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of chatting today because this is not a very instruction-heavy type of artwork. So we've already answered a lot of questions. Do we have any more?
No, I think we're gonna let's do the winners.
Should we do the giveaway?
Okay. Let's do the giveaway.
All right, giveaway time! Yay! Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna be giving away is, should we just do like 3 and 3? Or?
I think we should. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah,
we were giving away these cool decals, but I ran out. So, D-Brand, if you're listening, you should send us some more so we can give them away. I emailed them, but, you know, pandemic and all, I'm sure they're busy. So we're going to give away 3 winners that are going to win a brush set of your choice from Bardot Brush. So we'll go ahead and start with that. We're going to just call out like the first part of your email address, and then we'll also email you if you're a winner.
Yeah. And real quick, just to answer, it's been asked a couple times. Yeah. When it comes to what device and everything that Lisa is using, all of that stuff is in the description on YouTube.
Yep.
So.
And you can also find it at bardotbrush.com/FAQ. I have all the stuff that I use and links to that as well.
And all then, right. Let's do winners.
Okay.
We'll do one or 2 more questions that I have that I really want to get answered.
Okay.
So first winner is Pam Appleby.
Congratulations, Pam Appleby. We will email you, and you can choose one of the brush sets, whichever one you would like, and it will be yours, and you can have fun with it.
All right. Next up, we have Raylan Beck.
Congratulations, Raylan Beck. You're a winner. Brush set of your choice from Bardot Brush.
Ben Howard is
and
our last
Ben
winner.
Howard. Congratulations, Ben. We will email you with the details about how to get your brush set. And we're going to do, we usually do 2 winners, but we'll do 3 today since we don't have the pencils to give away. So yay. Let's do... So this is for the master bundle. So it's basically all of these sets, all the sets that I sell, is the master bundle. So let's go ahead and pick our 3 winners for that.
All right. First up, we have Tina Frank.
Tina Frank. Congratulations, Tina. I hope you have fun with that. We'll email you, and you're going to be making some cool art stuff on Procreate.
Next up, we have Devin Hasenflew.
Devin Hasenflew, congratulations. You are going to be a master bundle owner. We'll email you the details.
I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize. I probably butchered a couple of these. Kaomi Walsh.
Kaomi Walsh. or however you actually say that.
I apologize for butchering that.
You are the winner of a master bundle. We will email you the details. Congratulations to all the winners. We've been trying to do the giveaways once a week on Fridays, so as long as we haven't had the baby yet, we'll be back again next week. I think we still got a couple weeks like until my due date, so I think we'll be okay. But yeah, we will be back again next week doing live videos. I think we're going to do Tuesday and Friday again.
Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah, we're doing on Tuesday and Friday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time.
We're going to try and keep doing them as long as possible.
Yeah, we'll do them until the baby's born, and then we'll take a little break.
But then we'll be back, you guys.
Yeah, but we'll be coming back. There's lots of videos. If you haven't, I mean, some of you have been with us for every video, which I think is like incredible. Thank you so much. My goodness.
And talking about that, what number is today?
Oh, it's the 20th live video that we've done since we did the first one Monday after the shutdown started. Like we did 5 that week, and 5 the next week, 3, and then 3, and then 2, and then 2. So we're kind of trying to make it a little more manageable for us. But like I've been like doing them 2 a week, so we'll see how many we do when we come back after the baby's born. But we'll be doing 2 next week, and we will be in our new month of making art every day, which maybe I should announce what we're going to be doing. Okay, so the theme that we're going to be doing for the month of May is going to be objects. So these are going to be like we're exploring inanimate objects, and then the plus is going to be decades. So I think this is going to be really, really fun. I'm really excited about it. So inanimate objects, we just did weather. We've done things like food and animals and lots of different topics. You can go to Bardot brush, or if you go to makingarteveryday.com, you'll see like the past prompts down at the bottom. There's a link to that. So inanimate objects, which I think is going to be nice and approachable for you guys to draw. But then if you want to do something extra and push, you can draw an object as it comes from a certain decade. And each week of May, there's going to be a different decade theme. So we're going to start with the 50s. I have a drawing that I did that's going out in the email. So I drew a jukebox. Some of the objects are things from like that decade, and some are just like not. You can draw them however you want, interpret however you want. But if you want to do like a themed thing, you can do it like from the 50s. So I think it's going to be really fun. If you guys signed up for the giveaway, you'll be getting info about that going out on Sunday. So we're going to be working 50s all the way to the 90s. So lots of fun stuff that's going to be coming down the line for next month. And then, Jeff, I think you said you had a couple questions that we could answer before we wrap things up.
Well, where to go?
What?
Sorry, I have to get a question back.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I'm really excited for next month, especially like certain decades.
Someone was asking, would you do character design? And what are the fundamentals to inspire young artists to be creative?
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that was a big
one. Well, that's a big one. So character design, that is something I do have planned for Making Art Every Day later this year, so stay tuned. I also have the People Skills series, which is all about helping you, I'll pull it up real quick, learn how to draw people in a stylized way. And of course, you can apply that to characters. It doesn't have to be people. It could be humans if you find a way of drawing eyes that you like, and apply that to drawing animals or whatever, characters. And emotions and things like that. So I would highly recommend checking out this series. Didn't quite finish it last year, but I plan on finishing it later this year. So we'll be exploring that later this year, I promise. And then the other question was about
fundamentals.
To
inspire creativity.
I honestly don't know how to answer that. Like, everybody is inspired by different things. And for me, I can talk about myself. I am inspired by things that other people make. I've kind of talked about this before, but like Jeff, he is inspired by nature, and he'll go out in nature and like take photos or just be in nature, and it really like fills him up. But I love being in like cities and seeing things that people have built and created, and that really inspires me. So for everybody, it's going to be different. And I think a part of the process of becoming an artist or developing yourself as an artist is finding what inspires you. So I know it's probably not a great answer to your question. It's not really an answer at all, but yeah, just try and find what inspires you, because that's going to be your driving force that keeps you going. And the other thing that inspires me is just the creative process itself. I love starting with nothing and turning that into something, and then looking at that something and saying, oh my gosh, like I made that. Like, that's awesome. Like, it makes me feel so good. So that's another thing for me. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up now. Again, my name is Lisa Bardot. I'm the owner of Bardot Brush. I make awesome brushes for Procreate, as well as tutorials and educational resources to help you guys learn how to make art, including things like this video. And I also run Making Art Every Day, which is drawing prompts and motivation to help you overcome your creative fears and establish a daily art making practice. And that is all, the Making Art Every Day is completely free. So I hope you'll think about joining us if you want to become a better artist and learn how to draw more. So thank you again for joining us. I know it was a long one today. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.